My son left me at the airport like I was forgotten luggage, but what I did next made him beg me. I raised Adam alone after my husband died. I worked night shifts, skipped meals, and gave up so much just to give him a good life. I paid for his school, helped him with his business ideas, and even covered his rent when he struggled. I thought he appreciated it. But then one winter evening, I flew in expecting to see him waiting for me. Instead, I stepped into a cold airport full of strangers. No text, no call. I waited, hoping it was a mistake. It wasn't. I had been left behind, forgotten. That night, I started my plan to teach him a lesson. What happened the next morning made him beg me. I opened my banking app and stared at the screen. My heart sank. Adam had taken so much for granted. He had access to all my accounts. Every savings, every backup card, every bit of money I had carefully put aside over the years. It was all connected to him. For a long time, I thought I was doing the right thing. I was a mother. I wanted to help. I wanted to make sure he never felt alone. But I was the one who felt alone that night. I had just gotten home from the airport. He didn't pick me up. He didn't call. I stood there in the cold, waiting, until I realized he wasn't coming. That was the moment something changed. I stopped making excuses. I stopped blaming myself. I stopped hoping. I went home, sat in the dark, and opened the app. I clicked through every account, every card, every setting. And I began removing his name. No noise. No message. Just quiet clicks. He had been using me like a safety net. But I had nothing left to give. The next morning, his card declined. Then another. His rent payment failed. His mortgage bounced. I stayed silent. I didn't pick up his calls. I didn't respond to his texts. I just watched. For years, I had saved him from every bad choice. But this time, I saved myself. Adam panicked. Tina, his wife, was furious. She texted me, saying I was being cruel. She said I was confused, that someone must have turned me against them. Then they took it further. They filed a lawsuit against me. Claimed I was unfit. That I was being manipulated. That I needed help. I let my lawyer speak for me. She was sharp, calm, and prepared. She showed everything, text messages asking for money, screenshots of withdrawals he made without telling me, and voice messages where he laughed about using mom's card. The judge listened, read the files, and looked right at Adam and Tina. Then she dismissed the case. I walked out of that courtroom with my head held high. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just breathed. I felt light. Like I had been carrying a heavy bag for decades and finally set it down. After that, I moved to a quiet beach town. I bought a small place near the water. Nothing fancy. Just peace. I took walks by the shore, sat with my tea, and started to feel like a person again. I started teaching local women about their rights. About money. About not being afraid to say no. Meanwhile, Adam's life fell apart. He lost clients. Bills piled up. Then one day, he got arrested for fraud. They had been watching him for months. Tracing false payments, tracking his business deals. One of the accounts he had misused. Mine. He sent me a letter from jail. It said he was scared. That he needed help. I didn't cry. I didn't even hesitate. I mailed the letter to the police. It was more proof. I had spent too many years fixing his mistakes. Not anymore. On my 70th birthday, I walked barefoot on the sand. The sky was pink and blue, and the ocean breeze was soft on my face. I didn't have a party. I didn't need one. I had peace. That morning, I signed the final papers for my home. It was fully mine. I wrote my name slowly, proudly. For the first time, it meant something. I wasn't a backup plan. I wasn't a bank. I was a woman who took her life back. I spent that afternoon by the water, thinking about all the times I said yes when I wanted to say no. I thought about the nights I skipped dinner so Adam could eat. The years I worked overtime to pay his rent. The birthdays I spent alone while he traveled with Tina. All those moments had been building toward this one, me, finally choosing myself. I joined a small group at the local library where older women met each week. We started talking about financial safety, about boundaries, about how many of us had stories just like mine. Some had children who drained their savings. Some had partners who left them with nothing. We cried together. We laughed too. For the first time, I didn't feel ashamed. I became a speaker for the group. I told them how I opened my banking app and pressed remove access. I told them how I sat in court and let the truth speak for itself. I watched women nod, hold hands, and say, "Me too." Adam kept trying to reach me. Letters. Calls. Emails. He even sent Tina to find me. I blocked everything. Not out of anger, but out of peace. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. He had made his choices. And now, I was making mine. I bought a journal. Each night I wrote one truth. One line that reminded me who I was. One day I wrote, "I am not a wallet." Another day, "Love is not control." And my favorite, "I choose me." Months passed. I got stronger. Happier. I started painting again. I made new friends. I traveled to a nearby island. I watched sunsets from the porch of my small house. And every morning, I woke up without fear. Then one day, a letter arrived. No return address. I opened it and saw Adam's handwriting. He said he was sorry. He said he missed me. He said he needed me. I folded the letter and put it away. I didn't answer. I didn't return to the past. I had built something better. A few weeks later, the local news reported on Adam's trial. He was sentenced for fraud. I watched the screen for a moment, then turned it off. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel joy. Just silence. The kind that comes after a storm. That night, I sat on my porch with a cup of tea. The waves rolled in steady and soft. I looked at the stars and smiled. I had made it. I had survived. And for the first time in my life, I was truly free. My name is Margaret. And this is the story of how I stopped saving everyone else, and finally saved myself.